And welcome back to The Wrap. Let's look at some new polls that were released over the weekend since last week's big GOP debate, and there have been some big changes. Let's take a look. The first one comes from CNN ORC. Still don't know what ORC stands for. Orc. No, orc. Like what? Like orca?
Orca.
Yeah, from
Tangent. Donald Trump at 24%. He is down 8 points. Carly Fiorina, look at that, plus 13 points. I said it in my column, and damn, it's good to be right. Finally, Ben Carson, 14%, down 5 points. Marco Rubio, another strong debate performance. He is up 7. Jeb Bush, he's even Steven. Ted Cruz, down 1. Mike Huckabee, up 1. Okay, fascinating poll, but not terribly surprising because Fiorina was so dominant, in such command of that entire evening, that a 12-point jump, while that's big with this many candidates, I'm not shocked, Bill.
I'm not shocked. She turned in a terrific performance. What I find interesting, and you and I were talking about this in the break, is that in Britain, the odds makers poll is totally different from that poll.
You share some of that information with the folks
Jeb
at home?
Bush is dead on favorite to win the nomination for the Republican Party. Donald Trump is second, and Marco Rubio's third.
Isn't that amazing? Scott Walker is fourth.
Oops.
At 7-1.
Somebody lost some money on that one.
That
tells you what those odds makers
Before Walker.
They had him in fourth the day he was dropping out.
Yeah,
Not
good
sure
point.
How much they're.
Let me read the rest from Ben Carson 8-1, John Kasich 11-1, Carly Fiorina 12-1, Rand Paul 18-1, Chris Christie 20-1, Lincoln Chafee 1 billion to 1.
Lincoln
Democratic
Chafee,
side.
wrong party.
Yeah, I'm going to bring him up at least once a show.
Is he still running?
Chafee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we would have heard about it if he dropped out.
Like Pataki.
Like Pataki.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Only
Trump
worse.
also took a big hit in the Newsmax poll. So was this the beginning of the end? And why? We predicted his fall so many times. We're proven wrong. We don't know the base. The base loves him. He can do no wrong. But I'm seeing some slippage. Numbers don't lie. And people will point to the NBC poll where he's up 7 points. But the Fiorina jump is very real regardless of what poll you're looking at.
The Fiorina jump is real. She earned it. She deserved it. We now have a top 3 are all non-politicians. She eroded Carson's lead as much as she eroded the Donald's lead. I think what you saw is a new, fresh approach from a non-politician. Don't count Donald out so fast.
Nope.
Really, not so quick.
At what point he's going to have to start spending his own money, though, I think. In other words, the free TV's got to stop at some point, I think. Or maybe
seem to
not.
be ending.
Yeah, you're right about that.
What makes you think that's going to dry up anytime soon?
I give
After
you one
the
example.
primaries.
I'll give you one example. He's doing a foreign policy speech in San Diego on a carrier, and CNN actually cut away because he was offering no specifics. All of that said, yeah, he was on like 8 Sunday shows this weekend, so I guess he could just ride this all the way to the nomination, or what?
I don't know. I think what's going to happen is, listen, Trump has maximized his base, and he's not growing outside of that base, and that will take its toll in the primaries. But when you start to have other people like Scott Walker, Jim Gilmore, Bobby Jindal, add up all these numbers and say how many of these voters are going to go to Trump, that's the only way you can really see him growing his base right now, which is not going to win him the primaries. Slow and steady wins the race. I still think Jeb Bush is #1. Carly Fiorina 2, but she has to change her tactics.
That's interesting. So you see Bush emerging as the establishment candidate and not Rubio, who I would argue is the better candidate, younger, and a bigger threat to Hillary
Jeb
Clinton.
Bush has more operations in place right now. So right now, if you're looking at it tactically, Marco Rubio still hasn't grown. He's had 2 solid debate performances, and last time he didn't jump on the polls after.
I just pulled a Mika. I did
Yes,
I
you
did an
did.
outward
Your
side.
face.
didn't I?
Tired, exasperated.
sorry.
Yeah, because
But I like Marco's side.
I don't buy the money thing anymore.
cute.
I don't buy the money thing anymore, and I don't buy the operations thing anymore because I see what Bernie Sanders is doing with nothing, right? I see what Donald Trump's doing with not a lot of organization, and I think that social media, free media, all that stuff
yeah,
plays a
it's
role
those, though.
here.
And I hate to agree with Nomi, but the truth is that's what wins elections.
He's
and
not
we're
a good candidate,
we're a
Bill.
long way from voting in February, for God's sakes.
I get
and
it.
then we got to get to an election, and the only way you can sustain any of that is a strong organization, and God forbid, lots and lots of money.
But if the candidate sucks and Bush sucks on the
yes,
campaign
sure.
trail,
Yes,
you
but
will
here's-
not
but
change
here's-
that.
I agree with you. Here's the one place they may be right. Because Marco Rubio has higher energy, when the professional politicians drop out, the energy goes to the lower energy candidate, the higher energy candidate, meaning Rubio, not Bush, because that's who they will see as being able to compete with high energy Trump and Fiorina. So it may be that Bush deserves to be the professional politician who emerges at the top, but it may be the personalities dictate that it will be Marco at the end.
Interesting.
You don't need $1 billion to win a primary. You only need so much. If they can get through the primary, then they're going to need the big money. And if if Marco Rubio doesn't have that, he can't steal it early enough, then Jeb Bush is the only guy in there.
You think Fiorina will be a front runner at any point?
Yeah.
You do, right?
Yeah.
I see with her, and this isn't hyperbole, I see Margaret Thatcher type qualities. I see such a command of debate stages and interviews. She doesn't make gaffes. Her problem is explaining away the whole HP thing, which I could explain away in about 10 seconds. But you know what? It's all about timing, right? If she were CEO of that company in the 90s when everybody was doing great,
Right, no
she
problem.
has no flaws,
She's
right? So sometimes it's all about timing. Anyway. After today's shakeup, we want to know who your pick is for the GOP candidate in 2016. Be sure to go to newsmaxpolls.com and cast your vote. And coming up next, we're going to read some of your viewer comments. I have a feeling there are a couple that might be pro-Trump. Not sure, but I previewed them. Yes, don't go anywhere.